Laws in gain!
What if we told you that one of the funniest westerns ever made was also one of the strangest movies in Hollywood history? Blazing Saddles was not just comedy gold, it was wild, risky, and full of chaos behind the scenes. From fart jokes that made history to real accidents that almost stopped filming. Let's take a look at 20 completely unbelievable facts about Blazing Saddles. In one of the funniest and most random twists in the film, the Native Americans actually speak Yiddish. Mel Brooks played the chief himself and decided to use the Jewish language as a personal inside joke. The entire crew cracked up while shooting it, and somehow Brooks convinced the studio to keep it in. It made absolutely no sense in the story, but that is exactly what made it so iconic. If you think that is strange, just wait for the next one. The famous campfire scene changed movie history. It was the first time a Hollywood film had real fart sounds. Brooks wanted it to feel like real cowboy life after eating beans, so the sound team recorded multiple takes until it was perfect. The audience was shocked, but the laughter was uncontrollable. It was ridiculous, childish, and completely unforgettable. But the fart jokes did not stop there. Governor Le Pédoman sounds fancy, but it is actually a fart joke.
Is anybody got a dime? Somebody's got to go back and get a shitload of dime.
The name comes from a French performer known for his musical flatulence act in the 1800s. His stage name literally meant the fart maniac. Mel Brooks loved that and used it as a hidden gag. Every time the name appears, it is another not-so-secret joke. And that was just one of many secret meanings in the movie. From Hedley Lamar, who mocks the real actress Hedy Lamarr, to Lily von Stupp, a Yiddish phrase that means something too adult to say on TV, every name had a double meaning. Even the random background characters had silly or dirty wordplay built in. Brooks wanted the script to feel like one big inside joke. But one actor earned their role in a way no one could forget. When Madeline Kahn auditioned for the role of Lily von Stupp, she didn't just read lines. She walked in, grabbed a chair, lifted her skirt, and sat on it like a classic old Hollywood diva. The room went silent, then exploded with laughter. That wild confidence instantly won her the part. Brooks said she embodied the character before he even yelled action. But the casting surprises did not end there.
They always hound me with one weak word.
Brooks originally wanted the legendary comedian Richard Pryor to play Sheriff Bart. Pryor even helped write parts of the script, but the studio refused to insure him because of his personal issues at the time. So Brooks cast Cleveland Little instead, and he nailed it. But the next casting story was pure chaos from day one.
Welcome, Sonny. Make yourself at home. Marry my daughter. You've got to remember that these are just simple farmers.
Actor Gig Young was originally cast as the Waco Kid, but on the very first day of filming, he collapsed from alcohol withdrawal. The crew panicked, and Brooks had to call Gene Wilder to take over. Wilder showed up, read the script once, and said yes. He joined immediately and gave one of the funniest performances in movie history. But not everyone was laughing on set, especially Brooks himself. Brooks hated using racial slurs in the dialogue and wanted to remove them. But Richard Pryor and Cleveland Little convinced him to keep them in because they made the satire stronger. They told him, "If we're going to make fun of racism, we have to show it." Brooks agreed, and that decision became one of the boldest creative choices in comedy history. The studio, though, was not as fearless. Warner Brothers executives were nervous about the movie. They thought it went too far. They begged Brooks to delete dozens of lines and change the ending. Brooks refused. In the end, he only cut one small joke during a love scene that he felt might have been too much. Everything else stayed. He said, "If we lose the shock, we lose the fun." But not all the movie's weirdness came from writing.
They never had no kind of trouble.
That dusty western town was not built for Blazing Saddles. It was actually reused from another movie, Westworld, which had been filmed just a year earlier. The crew simply repainted the buildings, changed the signs, and called it Rock Ridge. It was a creative shortcut that ended up giving both movies the same cowboy charm. But what happened on those sets was even funnier. If you look closely, you'll notice that Sheriff Bart is wearing his badge before he even gets the job. It's a tiny mistake, but fans love it. Some say it was a goof, others think it was a deliberate joke. Either way, it fits perfectly with the film's anything goes energy. And that chaos was not just limited to the characters. In the governor's office scenes, furniture literally moves between shots. Lamps disappear, chairs switch sides, even paintings flip positions. No one knows if it was a lazy edit or an intentional gag. But once you notice it, you can't unsee it. The chaos continued in the movie's most outrageous finale. During the huge brawl at the end of the movie, where everything spills out of the western set and into the studio lot, a real person accidentally walked through the shot. He wasn't an extra. He just wandered in by mistake. Brooks noticed it during editing and decided to keep it in. It made the scene even funnier. And that wasn't the only thing that changed at the last minute.
Obviously making love, and she says,
Tell me, Schatzi, is it true what they say about the way you people are gifted? Oh, it's true. It's true.
and then you hear Cleavon Little say, I hate to disappoint you, ma'am, but you're sucking on my arm.
In the romantic scene between Lily and Bart, there was originally a very bold joke. Bart was supposed to say, "You're sucking my arm." Brooks removed it just before the film hit theaters because he thought it might be too much for the time. Looking back, it probably would have become one of the movie's most quoted lines. But Brooks was saving his surprises for something even crazier. For the movie's big premiere, guests were told to arrive and watch the film on horses. About 250 people showed up, sitting on saddles at a drive-in theater. It was the most Mel Brooks idea ever. No fancy red carpet, just laughter and chaos under the stars. But before it became a hit, the first test screening almost destroyed everything. When Brooks showed the movie to studio executives, no one laughed. They sat in silence. The studio was ready to cancel the release. But Brooks organized a second screening for the Warner Brothers staff, janitors, clerks, and everyday employees, and they laughed non-stop. Their reaction saved the movie. Sometimes regular people get the joke before Hollywood does. But not everyone found it funny on day one. On the first day of shooting, Brooks got so nervous that he actually threw up. He joked later that he threw up green. The crew thought it was food poisoning, but he said it was nerves. Everyone teased him about it afterward. It might sound bad, but that nervous energy is what made the movie so wild. And one man in the cast was just as clueless about what he was getting into. Frankie Lane, who sang the movie's dramatic theme song, had no idea Blazing Saddles was a comedy. Brooks didn't tell him because he wanted the performance to sound serious. Lane sang his heart out, thinking it was a real cowboy epic. That unintentional sincerity made the opening song even funnier. But the ending of the movie went even further into total madness. In the final act, the characters actually break through the studio wall, crash into other movie sets, and even walk into a theater playing Blazing Saddles. They sit down and watch themselves on the big screen. It was one of the most creative and chaotic endings ever filmed. And it was all part of Mel Brooks's master plan to make a movie that broke every rule. Nothing in Blazing Saddles was random. Every fart, every mistake, every moment of madness was intentional. Brooks wanted to make a movie that made fun of every Hollywood tradition. He wanted to destroy every rule and still make people laugh until they cried. That chaos is exactly why Blazing Saddles became a classic. If you liked this video and it brought back memories, you will like this video as well.